Today we're going to be making hash brown casserole. One of the first things you need is you need a pan with a lid. That's for the hash browns to get cooked. If it doesn't have a lid, you probably get by without it, but it works better with the lid because it kind of keeps the steam and the heat in there. You also need a casserole dish or some kind of large, not a casserole dish, but like a cake pan, like a big one. We use the glass. We always like the glass better because the metal one tends to stick a lot better, or a lot worse than the glass. So we like the glass ones. Hash browns, you want the shredded kind, not the cubes. You want the shredded pieces. You want a can of cream of chicken soup. You need just sour cream. You can get the smallest one you have. If you already have some, you can get whatever. We use the light because it still has the flavor and with a little less calories. So really you just want the flavor anyway. We use a 2-pound package of mild cheddar cheese. You could use any cheese you want to, or 2 cup of mild cheddar cheese. You could use other cheeses too. If you like Colby, you could get that too. We just always like the mild cheddar. And you need about half of a large onion. And we have an onion, we slice it up for hamburgers. So we're going to use the rest of this to probably put in here. So I'm going to get my cutting board out and start chopping up some onions. So you need a little bit of oil. You don't need a lot of oil. It's probably about a tablespoon or so. That's probably more like 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna put just a touch more. If you put too much, it makes your potatoes really greasy, so you don't want that. But you really just want to cover the bottom of your pan up. It's more for sauteing the onions and to keep your potatoes from sticking, so that's why you need the oil. I wanted to mention too that the glass pan, you could also use one of those aluminum pans you buy at Walmart or wherever, that you throw away pans. Get the 9x13 pan. And it works really good. You can bake it in that and just throw the pan away. I would recommend spraying those kind of pans down though because they tend to stick in the aluminum pans. This one though, we do not usually spray because it does not tend to stick as much in this one. I'm going to save just a little bit of the onion, but that is, you can see that's probably about half of that onion, and I don't need all of this. And I hate chopping onions that are already sliced sometimes, but they don't have to be perfect. Just get them kind of cubed up a little bit. You can kind of see it's. I've got some longer pieces. I'll probably cut some of those in half, but as long as you get kind of chunky pieces, it's fine. But you don't want them so big and chunky like a like a smoked sausage sandwich or something. You don't want them that big. So I'm going to chop these up and then I'll get them in the pan. I'll be back when I'm ready to put them in the pan. I finished chopping my onions up, and I've got my pan on about 7, so it's on medium high. You'll be able to see about how much onion, and you can get more or less onion. We tend to like the flavor of the onion in there, so we like a lot of onion in ours. And also the purple onion, you don't have to use purple. You can use a yellow onion or a white onion, whatever you want to use. It's to taste, whatever you want, whatever you like. So I'm going to stir these up really good and let them saute, and really they're going to be, once they start getting translucent, but not to where they're starting to brown, because if you wait till they start browning and you put your potatoes in there, they burn. So really you just want to start kind of getting them heated up and softened up, and then we'll add the potatoes in. So we'll be right back. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, and you see the potatoes are starting to brown on the bottom. So I'm just going to kind of rotate them around to put new potatoes on the bottom and brown potatoes on the top. Try to turn them too. Don't try to like stir them, because if you stir them, they'll get all sticky and squish together. So now I'm going to leave these on. I'm going to turn down my heat just a little bit, probably down to about medium, and I'm going to let them sit for another 5 or so minutes, because they'll start to get brown really fast, because most of that oil has been soaked up with the potatoes. So I'm going to check them a little more often so they won't burn. You can see my onions are kind of getting softer. My oven's preheated to 350. You can see they're kind of starting to get just a little clearer looking than they were. The potatoes are, they're frozen in like a hard brick at first. You could set them out if you want to. I usually don't. I just take them straight out of the freezer. But you have to break them up, and I did it already, so you wouldn't have to listen to this. But you have to break them up to where they're broken into individual pieces. So do that before you put it in the pan. They don't like it because I bang it against the counter and squeeze it and hit it and beat it up, and it makes awful noises. So take you can see the oil still in the bottom there. And I usually take about half the potatoes, and then I stir in my onions really good with those and kind of get them mixed up, because if you fill it up, it's hard to mix your onions in. And if you don't stir it up, then your onions are all sitting on the bottom next to the heat and they burn. So ran into a few burnt onions before, and they're not too bad. I mean, they don't add a really bad taste, but they are a little bit more bitter than an unburnt onion. So there's that. You can see the onions all stirred through there, and then I'll just pour the rest of the potatoes right on top. That's why I like this really deep pan. It's like the best pan for this particular dish. So I'm just going to cover these and keep them on medium-high for about, I'll check them in like 10 minutes, just kind of see, make sure they're not burnt. You don't want to burn them. You're trying to get them just a little brown on the bottom. They don't have to be super brown, just a little brown, and thawed out is really what you're going for. So I'm just going to leave those in there for like 10 minutes. One thing I did want to mention too is you can actually make this up the night before. Do all the cooking part as far as the stove directions go. Go ahead and put it in your casserole, your lasagna pan, cake pan, whatever you want to call it, and put it in the refrigerator covered with plastic wrap. And then the next day when you're ready to actually serve it, to cook it, just put it in the oven, leave it maybe an extra 10 or 15 minutes to cook or to warm up, and you're ready to go. So you don't have to make this the day of. You can actually make it the day before. We do it all the time at Thanksgiving. All right, they've been in there about another 10 minutes. Every once in a while I'll go in there and just stir it up just to make sure they're not burning. But you can see they don't get super brown, which is fine. I mean, if you want them a little crisper, that's fine. But they're going in the oven and they get a good crisp topping on top of them anyway. So it's not desperate that you do that. So what I do is turn my heat down to like 1 or a 2, pretty low. And take your cream of chicken soup, and I'll do that a lot, so I'm sorry if it makes a lot of noise. But take your soup and take the whole can, and stir that up in there. Lost some. We don't want to lose anything. Alright, now as far as the sour cream goes, I don't use a measurement. The recipe originally called for, if they're too thick, put some in there. But then we made them without one time, and they didn't have that. We like that sour cream flavor. So I literally take it in my hand, and I squeeze it like this, and whatever comes out, comes out. That's probably, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon, a little bit more. As long as you kind of get the white kind of mixed all the way through there. Like I said, we like the flavor of it. If you don't like the flavor of sour cream, maybe you don't want it in there. But that will thin it out a little bit. Okay. Once you get that all pretty good and mixed up, you're ready for your cheese. And again, this is a 2-cup package of shredded cheese. This is the finely shredded, whatever shredded. If you want to buy block cheese and shred it yourself, that's fine. Dump the whole thing in there. And just work it, stirring it up. And like I said before, try not to really smash them a lot, because then you get mashed potatoes instead of hash brown casserole, which are kind of already kind of sticky anyway. And just make sure you get your cheese all mixed up, and that's about as good as I ever get it. And again, if you're using the glass pan, you can put it directly in the pan. If you use a metal pan, you probably switch sides. If you're using a glass pan, I mean a metal pan, you may want to spray it down with just a little bit of cooking spray. Glass pan, we've never had any trouble doing that at all. If you're using aluminum pans, spray it down with cooking spray because they will stick in an aluminum pan really, really bad. So I just take it and spread it out because they're pretty thick. And, you know, try to get it as even as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'll try to spread it out. And then take salt and pepper to taste. I usually put it on there pretty decent. I mean, I like for people to be able to judge how much salt and pepper they want on their own, but I do put some on there. And then you're going to stick this in a 350 oven for about half an hour or until it starts getting brown on top. That usually works really good. If you need to turn your oven up a little higher for like you're cooking something else, you can go a little bit higher, but I don't recommend going up to like 400 degrees or something because they tend to burn on the top. So we're going to stick this in the oven and I'll show you when it gets done. It's just came out of the oven. You can see they've got a good brown topping on it, and you'll have to cut it. Usually what we do is just go around the edges and cut it across like that. And I'll just get this piece right here. And there's what it looks like.
And how long was it in?
It was in, total was about 45 minutes altogether. So that's about normal. We start checking on it at about half an hour. And then we just let it go until the brown on top. You can see we like the good crispy edges and stuff. So that's what that's our favorite part. So that's ready. That's all there is to it. And you can put more, you can put salt and pepper to taste. I usually leave it like this and let whoever we're serving it to put their own salt and pepper on it. I mean, you can put hot sauce on it or ketchup or whatever you want to put on it. So it's all good. So whatever way you want to do it, that's how easy it is.